Hey guys, so in this video we're going to take you through changing the steering switches, the contact reel or clock spring behind the steering wheel, and the indicator stalk, which is on the left hand side of the column. I'm going to run the video at 2 times the normal speed, just because it can get a bit tedious, it can get a bit boring watching someone just turn a screwdriver. The reason why we're changing these is just basically the couple of buttons, couple of functions have stopped working on each side. The horn would only work in certain positions. So you turn the steering wheel, it'd be dead straight, the horn would work. Turn it slightly to the left, it wouldn't work. That's a contact reel clock spring behind the steering wheel fault. And the left hand indicator wasn't cancelling anymore, which is the actual peg inside the stalk itself. So the faults have been building up for a while. Customer finally had enough, so decided it would make sense to change them all at the same time. You can see now we just pull the old switches out, literally just 2 screws on each one, pull them out, plug them across each other, 2 screws on each one again, push them back in, screw them in, do them tight. You'll notice on this model, which is a Renault C-Range 2017, there's no airbag. Does seem unusual. I was quite surprised when I first found out a while ago, but that's the way they are. Renaults don't have airbags. So just one nut, one bolt in the center. You can see now you've got making sure I'm marking the steering wheel with the spline. There's no mark, there's no master spline on that steering wheel. So just for continuity, I scratched it. The steering wheel isn't on a tapered thread, so it just pulls off. No problem at all. No pressing or pulling. And then the steering covers, the shroud, same again. Torque screws, 3 in the top, 2 in the bottom, facing the seat. And then the whole thing is just on clips. So I'm going to do this last screw, pull it back. Obviously take the ignition out because the actual column circles around the key. Then there's just 2 screws, one either side, holding the contact reel in, or clock spring, whatever you want to call it. And then just the one plug underneath. It's very important to keep the contact reel in the center position. If you rotate it 360 degrees, one turn, you'll end up snapping the contacts inside because it's only got a certain amount of turns. That's why they call it a clock spring, because it's wound up. So it won't just turn indefinitely. So it's very important to keep it straight. When you take it off, put it back. You notice there's a yellow tab in the new one, locking the top and bottom of the spring together. So same again, it just clips in. 2 torque screws, back in, left and right. Had to cut the video there because obviously I dropped the torque screw, as you do. Spent 5 minutes finding it. Okay, indicate the stalk. Just 2 torque screws again. All these screws are exactly the same size, incidentally, T25. Same again, torque screw off. And then it just slides out. You see the yellow plug on the top, and then the little brown plug on the bottom. Put the brown plug back in, clip it in. Note this is a little tab All that tab does is slide down so the plug can't work itself loose. Slide it back in. 2 torque screws. These are a bit fiddly. Normally drop these as well. The irritating part with all this, I find, is that I couldn't get an electric screwdriver in any of it. There's just not enough space. So it was all by hand. So, main plug back in. Take the locating pin out. Locating clip out. And then it's just the cover. Same again with the cover. First of all, it just clips in before the screws go in. Can be fiddly. Sometimes it goes straight on. Sometimes you have to have a little play with it. You see there, I always find the right side around with the key. That's normally the most awkward. But incidentally, this is a lot easier with the steering wheel off. If you don't take the steering wheel off, obviously you've got to keep starting the vehicle and turning it to the left so you can get one screw, then turning it to the right. It's so easy to take the steering wheel off. There's so few connections. Most of the time I do tend to just take the steering wheel off anyway, even if there's nothing wrong with any of the switches, just because ease of access. So same again, 2 screws on the bottom, 1 screw on the top. That square paddle to the right is the radio controls. And then got your 2 torque screws on the top, holding the cover on. Well, look how fast my hands are going. I should get paid twice as much. Okay, clipped in, make sure that's nice and center. Steering wheel back on. Being sure to line my marks up and slot that little connector in. Plug the switches back in, nice and secure. No problem. Put the Torx bolt in, nip it up nice and tight, clip the cover back on, ignition on, make sure things are working, and then just run through the operation. Check your switches left and right, and that's it. Thanks for watching.